thinking like a scientist
Hmm.
and think like you were at the graduation ceremony at Central Florida University. Did you hear about this?
I didn't.
Okay. The speaker during the commencement graduation ceremony, said something about an AI and was booed. The graduates were booing. So stop being a scientist, Don. Put
Okay.
yourself in the this is what people care about. Put yourself in the seat at that graduation ceremony, and you're the guy that got this degree that they convinced you needed to go to school for 4 years to take all these classes to have a major, and now you're sitting there and this person, I don't know who it was, tells you, oh, an AI, and you start booing. Why did you boo, Don?
I boo.
Yeah, you're sitting there. Stop being a scientist. Be the guy, be the young person that's sitting there
Yeah, who's
and
worried about
booed
AI?
and booed. Why did you boo?
Because I was a lawyer, or I was a programmer, or I was a doctor, or I
No, no, no.
was
This is a 4 year degree. You're not a
no,
doctor.
no, I understand, but this is where I decided to go, and I've basically been told that your 4 year degree, no one's gonna, and many people coming out with 4 year degrees are basically being told, from what I understand, is your 4 year degree is not going to cut it. Because we got computers that can do that now. So you're going to have to be better educated or somehow get experience. How you're going to get experience, of course, with computers having all entry level, well, no one's got any answers to that. That's why
But
people were booing.
you're talking like you're talking to the person who's sitting in the seat.
No,
I
no, no.
want
I'm
you,
talking like the
I want,
person.
no, I want you to be that person. Why are you angry? Why did you boo? It's emotional, Don.
I would be angry because you've replaced my job, a job that I thought I was
What
going
do
to
you
get
mean? You
four
never
years
had a
ago, and
job.
now
You're a
it's gone.
student. Did you apply for
You
jobs?
replaced the job I was going for.
Did you
I
apply?
got this degree in hopes of a career. I didn't get it for fun.
Well,
Now
let me
some
ask you.
did. They
Today
shouldn't be
is
booing, but
today is graduation day.
yeah,
What led you to this boo? Did you apply for jobs and didn't get them?
correct.
How
Or
many?
I
How many did you apply for?
who knows? I don't know what the average graduate does. I
No,
know how
no,
many I was
you,
applying for out of
Don.
college. So, let's say
I'm
20, 30, and I'm getting feedback of this. I'm sorry, we're not hiring entry level positions anymore because those have been taken over by AI. You need to do something that's, uh, a different level of complexity. Now, if you're a smart person, um, you're going to probably really quickly know that, well, it's going to be pretty hard for me to get smarter faster than AI. So you're telling me I need to be higher level, but it's going to be higher level than itself so fast. That's the concern, and that's the concern that we, yeah, this is this is something we've talked about in our first two talks. You know, this is a concern that all the makers of AI have. You know, they they talk about it all the time, how this is going to create chaos in society, and that's the word they typically use. There's going to be chaos in society because of the number of roles that no longer require people. Okay,
so you're
and
saying,
how that's going to be managed.
okay, so now and you're not, I'm going to be hard on you for a minute, Don.
Sure,
You're
sure.
not, you're not doing a very good job of pretending that you are that person in the audience. You're doing spend a lot of time talking to that person and telling them why things are happening the way they are. But that's okay. That's okay. That's a pretty
Okay.
big reach for this to say, Don, I want you to pretend, and that's not your style, maybe, and I'm putting you in a difficult position. Um, but we have talked about revolution, revolting against AI. So take the next step for me for these students and multiply this by, I guess, yeah, this is May. So this is graduation
Yep.
time at the universities. This was Central Florida State University, something like that, that got the booze. Uh, but there's a lot of universities right now that are graduating students with 4-year degrees. And so I imagine this is fairly representative of what other students are feeling, or not, they're not students anymore, they're graduates are feeling about AI. What happens to all these people? They don't have jobs. Universal basic income has not come. We're not redistributing anything at this point. And they're going out into the workforce, and some of them are getting jobs. I mean, it's not everything is dead. You know, healthcare is still very much
Yep.
alive with um, jobs. But there's going to, we think there's going to be a significant percentage higher than what would be typical at after graduation. Granted, it's never easy to get a job after graduation.
Yep.
Um, but now we're building a population of young people that uh, aren't getting to the place they thought they wanted or would be when they were young, when they were 8 and they were studying. Their parents told them, you know, just go do your homework, Johnny. Um,
Or when
and
they started college, because it's moved that fast.
yeah, yeah. And but now we're going to build a larger and larger group of people in America. I don't want to speak about the rest of the world right now, but in America, that I would think would have a good amount of discontent and maybe even animosity. A boo is a sign of, you know, uh, not a good animosity, I guess. What happens to these people? They're going to be a year from now, there's going to be another large set of people graduating from these universities. Year after that, another large set.
Mhm.
Like I said, universal basic income hasn't come. Who knows if it is coming? Um, what are these people going to do?
That that's why they're unhappy. They thought they were out in front. They went to college. They thought they were doing something to help their future, right? And now what do I do? Right? I got to start over. Talk to the AI experts. Say what are the sorts of skills that um, once AGI comes to fruition, which is like 27, and then it starts learning, and so you figure how long does it take for it to learn? Well, it's got to get access to the data and blah 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 blah, right? So it's going to take a lot of electricity. It's going to take even for a computer a little bit of time. But we all know from a human point of view, not a lot of time.
Hmm.
So let's say a couple years further on, so I'm going to college now. Uh, what do I do? What's going to be available if I want to work? You know, and I
Yeah,
still think I have to for all the reasons you're talking
yeah,
about, right?
yeah.
What do I do? Well, in literature and podcasts and YouTube videos and everything I could find, I saw all kinds of experts, high ups in the field, and DeepMind and CPT and you name it, all of these um, these AI companies, and you want to know the skill that they keep giving as an example of something that's safe.
That's you said fit? What?
You
What?
want, do you want to know what the skill is that they seem to all mention as something that's safe,
Uh,
something that young people should aim for?
I think I know what you're going to say, but go ahead. I'll let
What is
you.
it? Go ahead.
It would be ability to interact on a human to human level.
Incorrect.
All right. Well.
No, it was plumber.
Ah. Oh, you said you actually meant job.
Yeah, I
I
mean
thought you
job.
meant a human skill, like a ability to fix
Oh,
things.
sorry. No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah. Yeah, you
So
messed me up, Don.
there's something that we can shoot for, and the only reason we can
You
shoot
ever
for
done
that
any plumbing
currently,
work?
Dennis,
You
is
ever?
because the AIs aren't the AI the robots aren't very good yet. Okay, they don't do a great job being able to feel and know, how dense
Yeah,
things
yeah,
are,
yeah,
and they don't have all because clearly they have the spatial knowledge required and all that. And
yeah,
so the robots are the ones that are running behind. They're the ones holding up the train. But
yeah,
anything that uses your brain, well, you're kind of
yeah,
SOL.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you're right. The human aspect is one because,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
for
yeah.
instance,
I
a
went down a
content
different
creator.
path. I don't mean to
Yeah,
take you down
yeah.
a different path there. That's
But still,
yeah,
you were right because content creators, things like that, were the other things that they talked about was, you know, the people, the people, they're
mm-hmm.
going to be they're going to be okay to some extent.
Yeah, yeah,
But anyone who's actually trying to, you know, expand knowledge, they're going to be in a bit of trouble. Um,
yeah, yeah. And
according to the experts.
yeah. Well,
So
we're
this
also
isn't dumb, but
experts.
I agree with the
Yeah.
experts. Don't get me wrong, but
Well, we're also
you
experts, Don, so we can say whatever we want. We have a podcast. We're also
know.
experts. I um
I've
I
followed it some, as have you, but
well, let me
you know,
just say this though. I
definition of an
think
expert is 10,000 hours of practice, so I know I haven't put 10,000 hours into AI, but I
and
absolutely am
you
positive I've put 10,000 hours into IT. So,
you buy into that quack interpretation of skill, 10,000 hours.
yeah, I think it's not bad actually.
Eh,
I think it's as good
that
a measure as
I'm
anything.
yeah, I know what book you're talking about. I won't give it the grace of this podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why
Well,
we're
sorry for
different,
introducing
Don.
it.
You buy into this.
It's your
Uh,
podcast, so I apologize for
what is,
introducing it.
there was a term for that. Uh,
I can't remember.
like anybody can be good at anything. All you need is 10,000 hours of doing it. That's kind of the premise.
Oh, well, that was sort of part of it, but
Yeah,
that's not really what I
we're
got.
all great. We just, circumstances make some people lucky. You know, I'm born in
Well, that's not what
January.
I took out of it.
I'm
What I
born
took
in
out of it was,
January, so I can make an NHL team because I was older than all the other kids in my hockey league. Okay, I buy into some of that. Um, but
anyway,
where was
yeah.
I? Oh, I wanted to talk. Yeah, robots are great, and you're not going to change a transmission anytime soon with a robot.
Yep.
But I think they'll come up with modular under sink apparatus that will be replaceable by a robot,
Exactly. That's where it's going to
you're
go. Is you won't repair your transmission, you'll replace it
yeah.
because the transmission is going to be so cheap because
Well,
they've completely automated the process.
yeah.
And resources are cheap because and I mean, this is where the AI guy was talking was, hey,
Mhm.
AI is going to be able to deal with things on a molecular level.
Mm.
So
Wow.
scarcity is going to be gone, right? You're
Yeah.
really going to get to the Star Trek. Um, you just ask the computer for an apple and it creates an apple. It just rearranges atoms and it creates an apple. Seriously, this isn't Don Query
Yeah.
talking, man. These are,
Oh God. Are you gonna
you
want to
know,
eat that apple? You sound like fake meat is your
well,
fridge
this
is
is,
full of fake meat.
excuse me.
Bless
Sorry, viewers. Um,
you're making an
the
assumption we have viewers, Don.
35 of them, Dennis.
Yeah, well, that's yeah, we may be trending down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
who's to
anyway,
say? There's no guarantee this is going to go from 35 to 70. It could go from
that's for
35 to
sure.
5.
To
So,
zero.
but
Yeah.
yeah, eventually we could say the viewers might be us. We'll go back and look at it, or or some of the folks in Lynchburg that haven't given
Right.
up on us yet.
But but you bring up an interesting point. Who's going to eat the apple? The reason why I think it's an interesting point is because, of course, it likely would create the exact same apple over and over again that would taste exactly the same way. And so, how satisfying would said apple be? Even if it was the best apple they thought in the world, it would
So
quickly
getting
become
back
boring.
to you're that young guy in the audience, don't have a job
Yep,
in 2026, and now it's 2027, and you have a friend who just graduated in 2027, and now you just doubled the amount of people in your group that don't have jobs and maybe
yep.
discontent. You're fairly intelligent. You're not stupid. You're able to focus and pass examinations and whatnot. Um, at what point do all of you get together and say enough is enough?
There you go. And there's a lot of discussion around that as well. When is that breaking point? You know, um, and it's going to be, it's going to be like all revolutions. It's not going to be just because people get poorer and poorer and poorer. It's because people are going to get poorer and poorer and poorer, become hopeless, and finally there's going to be a vision of that hopelessness. An event that lights the fire. And it's hard to say what that event might
Hmm.
be, but the point is that, and the fear is that AI is going to create all those graduates and is creating those graduates that are staying at home. They're still with their parents when they're 20. I think the average now moving out from your parents is like up to like 27, 28 years old now.
Hmm.
So that's not what they had in mind when they went to college. It's okay, but you know, it's what they have to do. Um, and and you're sitting there. So now you're asking me to pretend again. So I just graduated, right? And I found out that wow, um, that econ degree and philosophy minor isn't going to do me much good. Although actually, the philosophy minor is pretty good for AI. Come to find out, but I just got. But let's say in the universe that I graduated, it's not going to do me any good at all. So what am I going to do? And I go, well, I guess I better um, train myself up on something else.
Yeah,
Okay. So you can train yourself up on the use of AI. Don't train yourself up on AI because those jobs are gone quicker than you can train up for sure. Okay. Because AI is going to rewrite itself, it doesn't need your help. All right. So
yeah,
programmers are poof, gone.
yeah,
Just forget it. This is a whole industry that paid really well and they're all unemployed. Just
yeah. And
boom.
then there was
80% of them, according to the experts
oh
on the street.
the expert. The other
Well,
thing
I mean, you got
was
to
no,
listen to somebody. They know
I'm
more than we do.
yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I'm messing with you, Don. You mess with
I
me,
just
I mess with you.
no, I just want to. The reason why I say according to the experts, I don't want people thinking, this is Don Query. I mean, good God, apparently the guy has drank way too much in his life, and he's just really gone off the deep end. I mean, my God, he's a communist. He pretends to be Lenin. I mean, you can't listen to this schmuck anymore,
No, that's
right?
pretending.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, anyway,
that
so I just
was
want you to know that I'm not pretending when I say these things. This is an expected possible future. Um, these folks can't keep up. We've gotten to a point where you can't train yourself up and still have something that is left to do when you get there because it's going to go so fast. So you start picking things that
yeah,
aren't going to be highest on the list for AI to attack,
right.
right? Which are the most satisfying complex jobs out there. Okay. I mean, what about the person who just got a PhD in cosmology, right? But now all of a sudden, AI is going to take all the data that all the instruments that we finally put into space has, and
Hmm.
and fix all the problems with the standard model, and poof, well, we know how it
Yeah,
runs now.
yeah. And
I
you
mean,
have
and now what do I do?
yeah, and you have agents. You're gonna start to have businesses that have agents that work. And hell, you
Yeah,
might you you finally get a job and you end up working for an agent, an
yeah,
artificial intelligent agent. It's not even a person.
yes. As a matter of fact, um, one of those jobs is, and this is incredibly satisfying work that already exists, and for unemployed guys like us, this is a way for us to make a little spare change. one of the problems in the new society is you want to make sure that this isn't a computer trying to scam its way into making money, that it's actually a person
Hmm.
trying to scam their way into making money.
Well, not
Pretty
yeah.
funny if you ask me. But anyway, um, so you've got CAPTCHA and all these other things that confirm that you're a human.
Hmm.
There are people out there actually making money pushing the button, selecting the number of stoplights in the field for
Yeah.
other to to get past all the CAPTCHA stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a job for you. That'll be fun. If if you're not so old that you can't see the stoplights, then you can still work. It's all good. It sounds like a wonderful world we're going to live in.
Yeah. Um,
That's why
let's
they were booing, Dennis.
yeah, they're
They
booing.
the smart in some ways I would say the smart people were booing
Well, and here's the
because they
thing
were
too.
scared.
Uh, and they might have had some interviews. Guess who's doing interviews for jobs now? AI. You
Yes,
talk.
they are.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
talk, you go on like a Zoom call like this, you get on the other end. I don't know what you see on the other end. I'm this person
Right,
applying for a job and they're
right,
asking you all these questions. Maybe it's just a phone
right,
call, maybe not even video.
right.
I don't know. And they ask you all these questions and I'm imagine they tell you I'm an artificial agent and they go through these screenings and go, okay, well, we got 100 people we're going to talk to. Doesn't
That's
cost
right.
hardly anything to interview these 100
Yeah,
people. And then the
yeah.
AI says, well, this and this. I've read about these interviews. Uh, they're happening.
I know. So here's the cynic. Why aren't you happy about that? What's
As
the
as a
the biggest
potential,
problem you hear complained about people who aren't able to get a job is that these damn interviewers, they're always looking for somebody else, and all these people who know people, they're the ones who get the job. It's not the person who's most capable. Well, if you've got a computer doing it, then the assumption would be it would finally be the most capable people doing it. I'm
uh,
being very sarcastic, Dennis.
yeah, well, but what I'm thinking about is
It
someone
would
who,
at least be equitably performed.
well, there's more to it than that. Is someone who's talked to people who are looking for jobs in a fairly young
Oh,
age
I know
still
there is. Like I said,
is
I'm being sarcastic.
yeah, no, but what I can only like think of one thing at a time, so I'm already drifting into what I'm going to say when I'm hearing you talk, so I have
Sorry.
to, I
Yes,
can't
sir.
multi-process all this stuff. And what I want to say is the job market now uh is so full of when you say scams, but they're so full of all these false leads and things. They're spamming these job sites, and in some cases, they just want to get your email address, and they're telling you, yeah, we've got this job, and it's full of scammers, and so that's part of maybe these job applicants, these recent graduates are finding out this whole process is just full of
Yep.
noise and scammers and things that aren't even real. You got to
Yep.
filter through stuff like this.
I lost a job during COVID. I found out that most of these were actual interviews I was having, so people were wasting their time. They get to the end of the interview and they go, "Really, we're just looking to see what's out there right now because of course there's so much out there. So we'll keep you in mind when there's actually a job available." I'm like, "Well,
Yeah,
thanks for I appreciate spending the last hour with you, bud."
yeah, yeah,
So no, I hear you. There's a lot of that out there. And of
yeah.
course, you don't want your employees spending time on those wasted interviews. They used to have to. Now they unleash an agent on it,
Hmm.
and it takes nothing to do it except
Yeah.
$100.
What was $100?
$100, you got to pay the agent. Remember?
Oh, but that was for a week's worth of work. So one interview
That's
would be
true.
maybe 10 cents.
Yeah,
So you pay your agent maybe a nickel, get a discount.
yeah.
And go do that
A lot less
interview.
than you used to pay your employee.
Yeah, a nickel.
Luckily, that employee doesn't mind no longer doing
Yeah.
the interview.
You
He only
know,
minds it when you undo his whole job with AI.
so okay. Um, and let's just go there a little bit and then I gotta be
We
somewhere. But
I mean, you
this whole idea of a revolution is just, and I'm not a revolutionary by any means. I'm trying to kind of get
well,
ahead of the game. And I told you I've been listening to podcasts now. The whole I'm drawing I'm I'm connecting the dots between the Russian Revolution of 1917, which it didn't, it came to fruition in 1917 when Lenin rose to power and the Communist Party came to power in Russia, the Soviet Union. I don't know if the Soviet Union was even formed at that point, but I'm I'm seeing I'm connecting the dots between what happened and the travesty of communism launched into the Western world through Lenin, the leader of this, but it was a lot of other people that were involved in this, and the discontent that had to be there for communism to take over, and the displacement and the lack of food, in that case, there was starvation that was taking place. The military that was disgraced by losing on their eastern front to Japan, I believe. And I used to think when people would tell me America's in decline, I'm like, yeah, we have crime in our cities, probably too much of this. We're spending too much is my very big concern. But I always felt like the fabric of America was just strong enough based on Constitution and people that bought into this system. But and that's a lot of inertia with that, a gravitational pull of freedom
yeah,
and the Constitution in the United States of America.
right.
And I read a recent poll of young people, kind of going back to young people, because if there is going to be a dramatic change, we'll call it a revolution. It's not going to be old people like you and me leading it, Don. It's going to be these young guys that are
At
discontent or
least I
have a
hope so.
or think, yeah, it ain't going to be us, Don. We don't have the
I,
energy to do what is required.
there's plenty of old white guys in our government right now, and I'm not impressed.
I'm talking about leading a revolution, Don. You missed the
No,
point.
no, I know, but I'm just saying, yeah, I don't think that those guys who look like us that they're going to lead a revolution. It doesn't look to me like that's going to happen. It is going to have to come from, the young.
Well, I don't think it's a matter who they look like. I think it's a matter of
No, 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 no. I
you
just
know,
meant we look that way. I'm just saying, folks like
okay.
us. I was agreeing with you. Folks like us are not going to create a
Yeah,
revolution.
okay. Um,
Yeah,
so this recent poll was young people who like believe in the future, and the numbers are dropping pretty dramatically. And when you lose the young people, you've it hurts. I mean, it hurts keeping everything together, society, the things that we grew up with that are, you have a, obviously a different perspective than me, but I think we can both agree that we have been able to grow up in a country that had boundless opportunities for us and anybody
more
really
than ever
who,
before. Yep.
yeah, and so I see these trends and it worries me more than I've ever been worried before. And if that was all it was just some discontent and uh, maybe the systems of government, the institutions, or this, we've lost faith, Social Security is going to go bankrupt. We've been hearing that our whole lives too. But then you throw in this, excuse me, this AI into this where it just expands so rapidly. Our brains are no longer nearly as important as they used to be. Your intelligence, your ability to think through problems, it's cheap. It's like based on megawatts or gigawatt, how much electricity you're using. That electricity and intelligence are the same, and you only need very small levels of it to get that.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm going. This is not concerns I had a long time ago. I always felt like we were stable enough, and people complain. People make a living out of complaining. Um, and this one is different, and this one
I think so.
I'm not. I don't. I always trust my gut, and my gut always told me, yeah, everything's going to be okay. We don't, people worry too much. We got the doom and gloomers. They've been around
Mhm.
forever. And now I don't want to say I'm a doom and gloomer, but I see the makings of transition into the unknown. Maybe it's better. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an old guy that's worried about the unknown, and a young person is optimistic. But these young people weren't clapping about AI; they were booing. Where do you
Yeah,
fall on this?
well, I mean, first of all, whenever anyone starts talking about old people, I'm like, yeah, we're not the first people who ever got old. And every last person who ever got old, it seems like that I ever heard talked about how young people today just aren't going to get it done, and they got all these problems. And,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, society's going down the crapper because of all the young people. And so, my natural even though I'm a natural warrior, but I'm also a natural cynicist, just goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. But the young people, they're growing up in a different time than we did. Listen, I'm talking about no matter who these young people are, what period of time we're talking about. The young people have always grown up in a different time from the old people, and as a result, you know, they know how to get along in that new world. Okay. But see, one thing you said, it was the only word that mattered to me. It's the thing that is the most worrisome about AI, and the word was rapid. You talk about rapidly, changing rapidly. There's not going to be any keeping up. So, what would have taken generations and change
Mm-hmm.
can happen in days. And how is society going to adjust? It's going to have to adjust. I mean, I'm like you when it comes, I know you might not, based on some of the scenarios we've gone through, you might find this hard to believe, but I think one of the greatest documents ever written was the United States Constitution. The
If
the
not the
amount of
greatest. Yeah.
I just said one of the greatest, right?
Yeah. I'm
So
with you. We
just
agree
be
on that. Yeah.
yeah, just because the amount of challenges those people had, and they were able to get over those challenges and make a document that was recursive. There was a manner that it could be changed, right, to keep up with the times, and the way that it's been able to change and the freedoms that it's been able to create is really remarkable. No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
But these are very different times, so um, and even a country like the US, I don't know I don't know how they're going to keep up. So the question becomes like we've talked about before, do we slow it down, or uh, or do we try to make the changes that are required essentially in advance, because we're not going to be able to keep up once they really start happening? And I don't see it happening. It's just people battling over the same old turf over and over again, and new times are coming, and that turf, it's got nothing to do with anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the the folks who, the Amish, they're at a distinct advantage. Their society's not going away.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was one of the probable futures from this book, Life 3.0, because IT technology is out of the bag. Do we just want to say, do we want to stop it, turn it off? Do we want to be Amish?
Mm.
you know? Or if we don't, then how do we change to accommodate for it? And all the ITs, all the experts, I know you hate the term, but everything that I have listened to says dramatic change has to happen. Too many people unemployed, too many changes for people to keep up. They happen too rapidly. The young people who used to, they grew up in a different society, but that, okay, say they learned how to use an iPhone. That's not good, and they did it when they were a child, so they were dealing with the change from the very beginning. No, from the time they're children to the time they're teenagers, the world's going to be a different place.